So, hello. How is everyone doing today? It's very hot here where I'm at. I'm in Michigan. We're under a heat advisory, and in the air conditioning is the place to be. I've been trying to get back on here. I left a post in a group, it's Eckhart Tolle's group, and I got such a wonderful response from everyone. I've been wanting to share my experiences, and so everything just kind of came together so that I could do it today. The things that I see a lot of people, and it was also my experience, was like I bought Eckhart Tolle's book back in the 90s, and I've always kind of had an advanced level of comprehension so that I could read kind of heavy texts. So I loved reading it. I love reading anything that inspires me and has helped me a great deal over my lifetime. Uh, but every time I read his book, it would freak me out, especially when he talked about time. So I know I wasn't ready then, but I always seem to have the book right next to me somewhere. And then I just kind of stumbled onto my own journey. That's been 6, 7 years ago. It's been a really long and hard journey, but I was determined to find happiness, to be free, to speak my truth, to be myself. And I had no idea what was holding me back. And that tells you a lot about the mind and the human and how we're made. Uh, that we can live from day to day with all of this garbage and old crap and keep it blocked away. I mean, of course, it's never totally blocked away, it's in the subconscious. And the subconscious is always interfering in our life, guiding our life, uh, taking us back through old patterns over and over and over again. It's really hard to understand that until you have gone fully into your own journey and decide that if other people have gotten through this, then I must be able to do it. Now, I had no belief that I could attain it. I just knew that I was not going to give up. So I had determination, and that's all I had. Uh, and it did work. I am free, and that's beyond a miracle. Uh, I suffered with childhood trauma, lots of trauma. Uh, and what I wasn't aware of was how much uh, sexual trauma I had experienced. But there was a lot. And I was also in an F4 tornado when I was 8 years old. I nearly died. Uh, I was sort of kidnapped at about 6 weeks old. And this woman raised me on the run through my whole childhood. I did not know my real last name. We moved 2 to 3 times a year. Uh, my living conditions were always below average. That was how I lived. And it affected me in so many ways. It was never who I was, but I thought it was. So, I got married young. I had my children young. I was constantly trying to get beyond this story. And I just couldn't. So when I became an alcoholic at the age of 33, the best thing that ever happened to me was going into AA. That's where I found myself. I found the tools. I found a place where I belonged. And through working the 12 steps, working with a mentor for 2 years, I had a wonderful transformation. But it wasn't time for me to experience full freedom in life. Eventually, the old patterns pulled me back in because there were layers and layers of shame that I just wasn't ready to deal with all of it. It was too much. So by the time I was going through menopause, and I think menopause is a trigger for a lot of women, uh, all that stuff started coming back again. That's when I decided I wanted to be a coach. So I went back to school and I took a 2-year degree in transformational psychology. All that did was barely hit the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's crazy. That was working every day in 18 different courses, but I learned energy healing. I learned cosmic laws. Uh, I learned about a whole other level of awareness that the average person has no way of tapping into. And that would start me off on a journey of letting go of this old conditioning. And it's nothing that can be done overnight, but it can be done. Uh, it doesn't make any sense at all in the beginning, but you still keep doing it. And I had some wonderful coaches and mentors, and I paid for course after course after course, and I got better, but I knew I was not connected. I was not connected to myself, to my identity. I just didn't feel like myself, and it was really uncomfortable. So to say that any one thing helped me get here, yeah, I would have to say it was everything I did. But when I started following Eckhart Tolle and his videos, this is when everything started to come together. Uh, and that was 2 years ago. So I've been following him every day. I watch 2 to 3 videos a day uh, because it has consistently helped me get out of the spiraling thoughts, the fear, the constant fears, uh, and be able to be still inside and connect with the outside. Uh, I've had a couple of times where it was so amazing that it scared me. And I'm not afraid anymore, you know. And that was the hardest thing for me to do, was to trust. Uh, I still watch every day. I hope I always do. Because the depth that we would like to connect with is infinity. So we don't just arrive. I don't even think that way anymore. Uh, and I'm just very grateful and very pleased that I'm able to even speak from my thoughts, be on the same page in this body, and be here talking about it. So I posted in a group, and it was just really wonderful. And it surprised me that how many people didn't know about Eckhart's videos. Uh, I'm sure that I have found a new one every day for at least a year and a half. Now I'll watch the same ones over now because I just enjoy everything he says. And like anything else, uh, the more present you become, well, the more you understand. And it's like that with anything. Uh, and he does still put out new videos, even though we are in the middle of a pandemic. Uh, and I treasure every video. So if the book's not working for you, don't don't get rid of it. Uh, do the videos and just listen. You know, it's not like all the other things we've learned. I have a ton of knowledge, and guess what? I don't need any of it anymore. It's like years and years of college. I have read textbooks after textbooks. I have a library that would blow the average person's mind. And I haven't picked up a book to read in probably 9 months. I have no desire. I mean, maybe to read something good. I love wisdom. I love knowledge. I love inspiration. But I'm just content. I'm content with doing the same exercises that I do every day with Eckhart. Uh, they come naturally to me now. It's getting easier and easier to get present no matter what's going on. I still have thoughts, and I know right away that it's a choice if I want to keep thinking about it or I can just let it go because it's not important. Uh, it doesn't mean that we don't speak up when we need to. You just got to know that you're going to do that when you need to. And I do think that everyone goes through a period where you're just not into doing everything you used to do. And that can feel weird. Uh, but I just enjoyed it because it was really nice to not push myself. I had the thoughts, I'm not doing enough. I can't get things done. I'm lazy, but I don't feel that way anymore. After a lifetime of living in fear, I think it's okay to just sit still and feel good. And that's all I have to do. So I know a lot of women and men were asking, uh, how do they do it? Well, gosh, if there were an instruction book, it hasn't been written because it's not on the same level of comprehension that everything else is. It's something you have to experience. And it's something that you can't just give up on it when it doesn't feel right. I mean, sure you can for a few days, you do what you want, but I always came back. I always came back, and suddenly you'll realize things have changed a lot, and it's weird because you can't really write it down. Oh, this is what happened, and that's what happened. But my whole life, my family's life, my environment, my body, everything is what I would say beautiful. I see the value in everything, and I feel very rich. Uh, I don't feel the need to chase money. Uh, I also I don't feel like I have to be a pauper for the rest of my life. I feel certain that good things will just keep coming. But if it doesn't, I'm okay with it. And it does make it a little hard to talk about this to just everybody. I don't need to, you know. So I don't know what else I could say except that I have a story that I can't even tell all of it. I can't tell all of it. I will never probably get all of it down. Traumatic. Uh, I lived from a place of lack, not enough, unworthy. I felt like I was a burden. And I honestly didn't want my kids to learn that from me. So that was my biggest motivator. I had a victim mindset. I don't need more. And you don't have to. And Eckhart is right. Suffering is psychological. And if you stick with it long enough, you'll understand that. Uh, we don't have to suffer. So I'll just keep popping in and popping out. And if you have any questions or any feedback, I'm welcome to it. I love it. And these are tough times right now, but I believe everything is happening for us. For us. Keep telling yourself that because there's so much more going on than all of this chaos we see. And have a beautiful day. Thank you.